Hello there, everybody. This is Mel Allen. A grandstand handstand? Oh, well, baseball's in good hands. Some rely on sleight of hand. No time to knuckle under, knuckle down. A handout at home wins at the Dome. Hand jiving and high-fiving for a hand slam. A handcuffed catcher loses the handle, but then gets a grip and the umpire's hand. A race for home and a head-first hand slide, but a fistful of trouble. KC at the bat and fingers as thumbs. A Royals flush is a winning hand. And big league farm hands get out of hand, so we got our hands full. Baseball at its best, hands down, on This Week in Baseball. American League Perspective. A big series at Yankee Stadium where crowds averaged 50,000 and hooped and hollered as the Yankees got a visit from the Western Division leading California Angels and an old friend who's no stranger to the bright lights of New York. Reggie Jackson was back in town. And in the series opener, the former Yankee checked in with home run number 23, ranking him #1 in the American League in heavyweight power. Jackson's 5th homer in 10 games against the Yankees. But New Yorkers love to remember the good times. And these days, they can afford to be gracious since they've been seeing a lot of good signs themselves, especially from the bat of Dave Winfield, who's been catching the heat and supplying his own with 8 homers and 23 RBIs in 21 games. Winfield was on target against the Angels, as was Jerry Mumphrey, batting .400 since the All-Star break with 11 RBIs in 11 games. Showing who's boss early on, Mumphrey's round tripper gave the Yankees a 3-1 lead in the opener. But against California, any club can lose its grip. Shane Rawley, however, kept a strong hand and picked up his 2nd straight victory as a starter. And with the rotation in a state of flux, it was not surprising that relief help came from Dave Righetti. Last season's Rookie of the Year showed familiar form in the Yankees' 6-3 victory while notching his first big league save. The next night, Ron Guidry got the starting call, and Louisiana Lightning displayed some of that old flash. But the Gator man soon ran into foul weather, and it took a few well-timed backup performances to bring the Angels down to earth. After losing the first 2 games, California got things rolling. But even when on a roll, it's not all smooth sailing. The Angels won the finale, but the Yankees took 2 of 3 and 8 of 11 overall since the All-Star game, serving notice that a move up in the standings could be close at hand. On to the wide-open vistas of Kansas City, where the Royals were trying to pull out of the summer doldrums. It's the KC Blue against the ever-dangerous Milwaukee Brew. And on the mound for Kansas City, Paul Spritor, looking for career win number 150. Despite striking out 8 batters and yielding only 1 run, it was not meant to be Split's decision. Nor would Milwaukee's Bob McClure figure in the final tally, despite 8 strong innings of his own. Nothing to nothing in the nitty-gritty ninth, and strategy dictated a call to the bullpen. Kansas City's ace reliever Dan Quisenberry came on to face Stormin' Gorman Thomas. Gorman got the better of Down Under's deal. Home run number 23, keeping pace with the league lead and putting the Brewers ahead 2-0. The next batter, Ben Ogleby, 22 homers and a sense of timing. Benji kept his share of the home run lead, and before you knew it, the Royals were down 3-0. Now, Harvey may have his wall bangers, but Dick Hauser has his hammers, and George Brett can drive a nail with the best. A two-run homer in the bottom of the ninth, and Kansas City trailed 3-2. The Brewers called on their stopper, Raleigh Fingers, to douse the Flames, but the heat continued to rise. With the score tied 3-3, 1 out, and runners on first and third, Frank White had a chance to win it. The suicide squeeze. Kansas City had come back. The team with the American League's best home record had won another. 4 runs and a 4-3 victory in the 9th inning, and a big boost to the hopes of a royal resurgence. And now, a new piece is dropping into the pennant puzzle. Though not quite contenders, the Toronto Blue Jays are no longer just a lounge act. Combining a double dose of smooth hitting and heads-up base running, the young Jays have started to move, running off 6 straight victories to tie the club record. A new aggressiveness has helped the Blue Jays break out of their shell. They're lining up with more confidence both at bat and in the field, where quick thinking and quick glove work go hand in hand. Can make a difference, knowing what to do, so there's always a backup. And this year, Toronto has shown surprising depth. Like when manager Bobby Cox and 2 coaches were thrown out of a game, the Jays' leading hitter, Barry Bonnell, said, "Hey, I'll coach first." And a rookie like Jesse Barfield also had something to say. Just a chick at 22, Barfield's been hitting around 280 with 11 homers. He's one more reason why the Blue Jays look ready to leave their last-place nest and take a higher perch in the East. In Minnesota, some big doings lately under the dome. The Twins' Tom Brunansky up with the bases loaded in the count 0-2 against the Brewers. Everybody was coming round to score, including Bruno. An inside-the-park grand slam, the first bases loaded inside the Parker in Minnesota history. Another Twin making tracks, reliever Ron Davis. After a dismal start, Davis found his touch in mid-June. In 5 weeks, he won 1 and saved 8. And the Twins picked up 19 wins against only 13 defeats. How about those Twin citizens? In Baltimore, Floyd Rayford recently provided a different finishing technique. A 13-inning game-winning home run against the Oakland A's. For Sugar Bear Rayford, who came to bat with a 118 average, a long-awaited taste of honey. Now it's time for this week's Volkswagen quiz, brought to you by the 1982 models. Nothing else is a Volkswagen. Switch hitter Mike Ramsey of the St. Louis Cardinals roughed up the Houston Astros with a couple of hits that included the first home run of his 3-year career. Now, swinging with power from both sides of the plate is a rare skill indeed. Can you name the current switch hitter with the most career home runs? He's a slugger who switched sides more than once. Stay tuned. National League Roundup. where the Pittsburgh Pirates have gotten a big lift from the man called Pops. Just ask the skipper.
I think Willie Stargell's an inspiration to all of baseball, not just to a ball club. He's a Hall of Famer on the field. I believe he's a Hall of Famer off the field. To be a manager and say I manage Willie Stargell, it's an honor. It's an honor to be a manager of a great man like Willie Stargell.
Stargell still adds muscle to a Pirate lineup that prides itself on strength and flexibility. Rookie of the Year candidate Johnny Ray has been going strong since opening day with a good chance to become the first rookie in 19 years to get 200 hits. Ray has shone brightly for Pittsburgh, as has a fast-maturing Dale Berra. His teammates call him Yogi, naturally, and young Mr. Berra is living up to the image, raising his average more than 80 points since early June. Another youngster giving the opposition all it can handle is All-Star Tony Pena, the league's third leading hitter. No sophomore jinx is holding Tony down. His .313 average has helped make Pittsburgh one of the best hitting clubs around. And when the Pirates reach base, they know how to move in style. Watch as Dale Berra leads off third and Omar Moreno gets ready at first. A double steal with Berra stealing home. Pittsburgh's king of the road, Omar Moreno, has played in more than 460 straight games. Quite a streak considering the punishment he takes as the league's top base stealer. On the mound, Rick Rhoden recently gave Pirate pitching a shot in the arm with a 6-hit shutout against Atlanta. And as usual, Rhoden delivered a few shots with his bat, going 2 for 4 with a double, raising his average to a stunning .363. The Pirate turnaround has also been keyed by the Candyman, John Candelaria, who also pitched a shutout against the Braves. His first complete game in 2 years, and a sure sign that the family feeling is back in Pittsburgh. In St. Louis, keen-eyed observers like what they see as the Cardinals try to find their summertime groove. Cardinal fans say it's me and Willie McGee, the 23-year-old switch-hitting center fielder. Since coming up from AAA, the rookies found a home on the banks of the Mississippi with a batting average above 300. Mike Ramsey is another Cardinal who makes the most of opportunity. 5 RBIs in 2 recent games against the Astros. An all-arounder, Ramsey will pop up anywhere. One day at third, the next at second, then at short, and looking sharp. In the heat of summer, arms can wear down, but Cardinal pitchers like Steve Mura appear to be firming up. Mura won his first game in 6 weeks, a 5-hit shutout against the Atlanta Braves. Another Redbird who went through a bit of a dry spell was Bob Forsch, but then he won back-to-backers, raising his record to 10-5. Joaquin Andujar has had the toughest time of all. Despite one of the league's lowest ERAs, Joaquin lost 4 straight. But then it was Andujar back on par with a victory over Houston. And when the call for help goes out to the bullpen, the answer is still the same. S-U-T-T-E-R spells relief. Coming off an injury before the All-Star break, Bruce Sutter returned to get a pair of saves and a win in 4 games. And that's cause for St. Louis celebration and opposition consternation. In Cincinnati, hard luck has befallen the team with last year's best record in all of baseball, and its manager, John McNamara, who guided them to that mark. Unable to find a winning balance on a Reds club this year that was no longer the same, McNamara's band was out of tune. A change was made, and third base coach Russ Nixon took the reins with new determination.
I don't think anybody can say this year is going to be a wipeout. It may be a wipeout for not winning the pennant or something like that, but it's certainly not going to be a wipeout for improving this organization for the future.
Nixon has re-emphasized the fundamentals, and he had to be pleased to see the Reds get back to basics by defeating the Cubs to end a 7-game losing streak and move on to a new era of baseball in historic Cincinnati. History also belongs to Manny Trillo of the Philadelphia Phillies, who recently played in his 86th consecutive game without an error. And no second baseman has ever played in more. The breaks of the game are quite familiar to Bob Baylor of the Mets. In early July, as he faced the Padres' Floyd Shipper, Baylor suffered an injured wrist. 2 weeks later, he returned in San Diego, and his first time up, another hard knock. This time, the pitcher was rookie Andy Hawkins. But Baylor shook it off. In fact, he even got the last laugh the next night as he drove home the winning run off Gary Lucas. All that might have made Lucas think he was the one taking the lumps, since twice before this season, Baylor had connected off Lucas for game-winning RBIs. Way to hang tough there, Bobby. But hey, man, don't forget to watch out for that high hard one. Now, let's switch back to this week's Volkswagen quiz. Reggie Smith, currently of the San Francisco Giants, is the switch-hitting home run leader among all active major leaguers with 303 homers in his 17-year career. A former member of the Red Sox, Cardinals, and Dodgers, Smith is second on the all-time list to Mickey Mantle, who belted 536 home runs, ranking him as the greatest switch-hitting slugger of all time. You know, baseball is a simple game. The pitcher throws to the catcher, and the batter simply hits the ball. But sometimes the basics aren't quite so fundamental. Even the hitters can go a little batty. When knuckleballin' Joe Necro's on the mound, better get a catcher warming up in the pen, because old Joe can wear him down. And Brother Phil doesn't make life any easier. But the long and short of it is that no matter who's on the mound, a catcher has to stay on his toes. Oh, well, in this world, it's catch as catch can. But take my advice on a drop third strike. You're better off if you ran. Now let's keep the ball bouncing with some lively leather. Leading off, Ivan De Jesus of the Philadelphia Phillies. Next, Gary Templeton, San Diego Padres. On the QT, UL, Washington, Kansas City. Taking time to make time. Julio Cruz teaming up with shortstop Todd Cruz for a Seattle Sea Cruz double play. And on the ball, Wayne Tollison, Texas Rangers. Riding the range, John Castino, Minnesota Twins. And in the outfield, Harold Baines of the White Sox. And Dewey Evans of the Red Sox. And from out of nowhere, Cal Ripken, Baltimore Orioles. And now a volley of plays at the plate. Eddie Milner, Cincinnati Reds. Pittsburgh's Omar Moreno teams up with the Invisible Man to gun another. And now Cardinal Willie McGee wheels and deals for a final out. Now, let's consider the strange case of the good doctor, Doc Edwards, that is, manager of the AAA Charleston Charlies. While exchanging opinions with the local officials, the good doctor believed he could disprove the old baseball adage that you cannot steal first base. Well, an umpire put his foot down, and Doc was last seen on his way to the shower. Finally, Steve Carlton of the Philadelphia Phillies, recipient of this week's Gillette Special. Against the Dodgers, Carlton won his first regular season game in Los Angeles in 10 years. He also fanned 8 Dodgers to take over the Major League lead in strikeouts with 168. Not only that, but Carlton's victory was his 13th of the season. And perhaps most important, the victory was a milestone for Steve, the 50th shutout of his great career. Congratulations, Lefty. And that's all for now, folks. See you next week on This Week in Baseball.